send a bunch of bad news to people who own XRP. The rest of the crypto market was careful to study the current state of all the money markets and think about how this will affect all of our crypto stocks. So let's pay close attention to what Tom Lee says next. I think the market has been thinking about the bad things that could happen. They've been talking about the chance of an economic slowdown or a trade war with China that ends badly. That's why buyers only think about what could go wrong. But the US has a lot to gain from changing its tax policy, deregulating its economy, and offering more benefits for exports to get people to invest in the US. All of these things would not only raise PE, but also Tom Lee's message really hits home for me because it's so strong and important. I think you shouldn't be too specific because in the end, you don't have to be right. If investors have raised money, there is $7 trillion, 0 cents, zero in cash on hand, and investors are consistently negative. There must be something wrong with the market. In my experience, one of the best times to get involved is when the news is full of scary stories. I've bought and sold cryptocurrencies on different days. The days I bought them were some of the worst. As a general rule, one of the top 10 cryptocurrencies will drop more than 10% in a single day. No matter what information I give you, if that cryptocurrency goes up more than 15 to 20% during a bull cycle, I might take some gains. This is especially true when trading futures. To be honest, I think that keeping XRP and the H bar for a long time is the best way to go. But yeah, this point really hits home for me. But Tom Lee talks about a lot of other things in this video that I think will also be very useful to you. So let's break it down. First, I'll give you some really important background information that you need to think about. Pay close attention. I think I'll start by saying that the US economy is always in a slump somewhere. I'd say that about 20% of the US economy has been in a slump in the last 5 years. That's why it's called a rolling slump. This trade war is also likely to cause more rolling recessions, even though some parts of the economy are already in one. Even though GDP may be growing slowly, that doesn't mean the economy as a whole is in a recession. Let me show you what I mean. Every time the housing market went down in 1900, the economy as a whole went down too. This current recession has been going on for 3 years, but the US economy has been fine the whole time. Yeah, I think we're all trying to figure out if a trade war recession where trade slows down is enough to put the economy as a whole into a recession since we know it's causing a drop in trade. I don't know how to answer that, but I'm only interested in if the high yield spread, which is the difference between high yield rates and risk-free rates, hits a value of 1,000 basis points, a recession is almost certain to happen. However, the high yield market is currently at 367 basis points, which for me indicates that there is not a US recession, but rather another rolling slowdown. This is why I asked you to explain. Some people may believe that because YM is having a hard time, so is the market. This is why I asked you to explain we don't want too many parts of the economy to go into a recession because that would make the whole economy go into one. That is why a rolling recession doesn't make the world go into one. At the same time and at some point. For example, if the price of oil goes up to $300, 0 cents a barrel, 15% of all money spent in the US would go to oil. That's a shock since the price of oil is $50, 0 cents now, but the price of oil needs to go up a lot for that to work. In the past, it has caused recessions. For the second type of recession, there is a shock to the banking system, like in 2008. If there is a problem with banks or loans, the whole economy goes into a recession, but it doesn't make enough of a difference when industry or housing are in a recession. Remember that when the area banks were having trouble in 2023? If regional banks failed, all credit would fail. Of course, there was a problem at a regional bank, but the economy was fine. That being said, we've been in a series of rolling recessions since 2020, 2-3 years in total. The S&P was down 27% that year, and earnings didn't start to rise again until the second half of 2023. And when that happened, investors said the market would go down even more because they thought the Fed's tightening would make the economy fall even more. We made a strong case against that, saying that customers didn't have enough credit or debt to stop a bigger recession. This is still true today. People and businesses don't have a lot of debt. That's why people might lose their jobs during a slump. Having said that, I don't think anyone is really sure that we'll have a slump. Also, it sounds like a lot of experts are calling for a recession. I've been around for 30 years and have never seen an economist get the slump right. I think the fact that a lot of people are calling it a recession shows me that there isn't one. Trade and the field are things we already have. If oil prices go up to $300, 0 cents per barrel, there could be a big supply shock. But that's becoming less and less likely as countries grow and do more types of business. For example, a lot of business can be taxed because the goods aren't real. Software, yes, tariffs do affect things that we all use and need every day, but there's more to it than that. I agree with what Tom Lee said. Just because a business is in a recession doesn't mean the whole US economy will too. It was going through a terrible recession, just like steel and industry in 2020 and 2021. As a result, there was a drop in a lot of different trade jobs. Tom Lee doesn't think the economy will slow down anytime soon, but the economy as a whole has been going strong. Is Tom Lee a trustworthy person? He was the one calling for higher highs when Bitcoin was worth less than $80,000, 0 cents, while many others said the bull run was over. Listen, great time to buy XRP. When XRP was worth less than $2, 0 cents, I bought a lot of it. Now we're here, but it's still possible that the crypto markets will have crazy price changes and instability. But if we see good chances that the price of XRP could drop by a huge amount in a very short amount of time, I'm going to be buying a lot, and I think you should too. I'm really interested in what you guys think about this movie with Tom Lee. What do you think about his idea of a rolling slump and the world economy getting bigger and better? Let me know what you think below, and don't forget to join Crypto Crusaders. As a group, we've grown by more than 267% in just 2 months, which is crazy. You can copy my moves or just use them as a starting point. The choice is yours. I'm not giving you business advice. At the end of the day, everyone is responsible for their own decisions. I'm just giving you my personal opinion on markets and my personality traits. Still very easy to join if you do want to use either or bidding as your currency. With all of them, you get a 10% bonus on your first payment, and you can save a lot on trading fees from PEX. That's right, you can use that 10% cash bonus to pay for any moves you want to copy mine. Just follow our 3-step process on this website. Scroll down to the bottom of the page to this topic and enter your name, email address, and other information. I'll see you in Discord after you follow the steps in my email to join. Lots of love to everyone who watched my movies. Thank you very much, and I'll see you soon.